This is really interesting. Some of the greatest spiritual healers of all time that I've studied, one of them being a gentleman named Joel Goldsmith. He did thousands of healings, spiritual healings in his lifetime. And what he would do is when you came to him, he would see you or write him. He did a lot of it in writing because this was many years ago. He would see and hold the image of the being he's working with as being whole, as being healed and whole. Of course, on higher levels, there is no illness, right? We know that. So I think that there's a real key there to holding this view that we are whole innately and working from there. Of course, we can have symptomology or things that we're working through, but as I think we as practitioners, it's really important that we hold on to that key. You know, I talk about there's these little magical keys, and I think that's a very powerful one, that we are whole and complete in and of ourselves, despite whatever challenges that we're going through. That's an excellent question. Thank you. We have two purposes: to love and to create while we're here. And of course, that can take many forms, right? You can create through whether it be, say somebody that makes a beautiful meal and puts a lot of love into that. I like that because I also like food. I'm a foodie and I like food. But, that's a beautiful example of somebody that's using love to do a creative act, right? Or whether it's to write a book or anything creative in the world. But that's one amazing advantage that we have as human beings, is we have this wonderful potential for creativity. And to transform the world through creativity, which is what we're doing as artists, healers, practitioners. That's really fun and exciting aspect of being a human being, in my opinion. One of the big things where human beings get caught, and I can certainly relate to this with my own challenges, and we talked about the absence of judgment. Judgment, when you look at a tone scale vibrationally, anger and judgment are certainly lower on the vibrational scale, right? With unconditional love, harmony, peace, calm being much higher. Another thing that I found out recently was very fascinating to me is shame and guilt are very, very low on the vibrational tone scale. And this has been a really big part of my own work and my books, is helping humanity release these chains of shame and guilt. And the great majority of these things, it's an illusion. It's not even real. But it can be very, very powerful and very harmful and damaging to human beings. So I think that freedom really is being free from the so-called negative emotions and the illusions that they produce from guilt and shame and fear and whatnot, because this is not the truth of who we are. So it's basically working through that or walking through it so we can evolve into a higher mode of expression. So in my case, it was like, how can I stay grounded and centered? How can I keep myself clear to where I'm not being bogged down? This was something I experienced early on in my career as an energy worker. I was feeling like I was picking up things that I knew they didn't belong to me, but so to speak, but I really didn't know how to keep myself clear. So I really kind of started out on a journey with various teachers and so forth. So I think especially now with so much tumultuous activity going on in the world, that I think that this, I've even spoken about how maybe some of the tools that we used before, where as empathic folks, we're having to step up our game because it really is more challenging. So self-care and self-love and more rest time are absolutely vital to empaths and highly sensitive people, especially now. True power to me is authenticity. It's spiritual authenticity. It means that a person doesn't have to try to attempt to steal power or hijack the power of another person. Or, we see this a lot through both individuals and institutions in society. A person that really is, I've been blessed that I've been around quite a few beings that were very spiritually powerful. They didn't have to lord it over anybody. It was just something that they possessed. You could feel it in their presence, and their entire life reflected it. So I think the more that we get to the core of who we truly are and drop the illusion, because to me, so much of healing is dropping these illusions of who we think we are. So really who we are innately, besides being beings of love, is we are infinite creative power. So to me, that it really is a return to authenticity, I think, is how I would respond to that question.